Anybody out there? It's Friday night again, Saturday morning. What are listening to? Episode 73, I want to say. Oh, that's a lot of episodes. How's everyone doing? Good to see everyone. Cheers.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Ryoji's back. Mr. Pence is back. Fourth time? Third time?
I think it's getting borderline fifth. It's fourth or fifth. It's kind of crazy.
Funny, you were on the first episode. It's funny, I was looking back the other day at the first episode, and it's like, it was only like an hour and like 12 minutes long.
And they've expanded. Yeah,
it just keeps like getting like longer and longer.
Yeah, I went
records
back.
keep coming out.
People are learning how to talk about records. It's like.
I looked backwards also just to make sure that none of my picks were like previously, dealt with, or just to the best of my ability, you know. And I was just like, whoa, there's a lot of these. And yeah, I saw that I was on the very first episode. So
hey, there it is.
Touch and go there for a minute, but
good to see you, man.
You too.
How you doing? We're actually on air right now, but that's okay. We're just like killing time.
Waiting for me to figure out how to use a computer.
It's tough. It's a tough task for an elderly
gentleman. Were talking about it. It was me the last couple of this is the first time I've ever just logged on and everything worked for me. So I think, nothing to feel bad about.
Nothing to feel bad about.
Happens to everybody.
It happens to everyone.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Here we are. People are here. We're getting going. Things are heating up. There you go.
Oh, Vince again.
Vincent.
Vincent,
Robert. And me, host. Greetings. That was me checking out if the chat works. It is working. There you go. Luca, I think you've got to do one thing. I don't know if I don't want to risk this though. It's like you've got to reverse the camera, or unmirror the camera. It's real easy. Go down into the settings and video, and then at the bottom it just says mirror. There you go. There we go. Morbid Angel. There you go.
Good. All right. Great.
Beautiful. Perfect. It's good to see everyone. I'm excited for tonight's show. I'm always excited. We each got like 5 records or possibly more. We'll see. We'll see how things unfold. Let me shut down my windows for full power. There we go. Let me do the housekeeping. Hang on a second. The useless housekeeping. There we go. That's it. Let's get that out of the way. Apparently, everyone's got their analog attack T-shirts. If you ordered one, I think they've arrived. So thanks everyone who ordered one. And that's it. Let's get going, shall we? Cheers. Oh, I've got a funny story. I'll quickly tell. I wasn't going to drink tonight, actually, or this morning. This morning, I should say. But like the gas man came this morning to like check the gas and everything, and check the meter. Usually, he just comes in and does it. Without me knowing, but he kept like ringing the doorbell this morning, and so like I answered, and he's like beckoning me to come over to the cupboard where there's like the gas meter, and he's like, "What's this?" And it's like looked in, there's a big box in there. It was like, I guess it was from Amazon, and it was a case of beer that I had ordered like 2 months ago that never got, and then thanks to the gas man, I now have a case of beer. Thanks, gas man.
Is it still fresh, or is it?
Oh, like a gas. We salute you. Anyway, enough of that banter. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So, okay, the last time I uttered these words was the last time that I bought a record from this group, and those words were, "I've got something new on Revelation Records." You won't often hear me say that sentence. I've said it twice now, like in the past couple of years.
I have an idea of what it is.
I think it's maybe obvious. I don't know. So it's this band. This was the last time I said I have something new on Revelation was when I bought this record, Planet on a Chain, boxed in. Great record. 90s veterans. But this kind of looks like a Revelation Records record, right? You know, it looks kind of like a straight edge record. Great record, love it. But they've got a new one, and this record is like way better, like in my opinion, than the first album. There's Planet on a Chain, Culture of Death. What a difference in aesthetics we've got.
Yeah.
Like, for me, this is like much better. Like, for my personal taste, like this looks like maybe a straight edge record. This looks like
Annihilation
third
Time.
tier, like Belgian crossover record from like 1987.
Kind of looks like later Annihilation Time artwork a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, it's great. It's all yellow and purple and like, what's that? Is that like King Kong on the tower? Like, I don't know. Planet on Chain. I don't know. A COVID band, right? They kind of formed during COVID. Everyone was separate. They kind of formed during COVID.
Yeah, and they're in 2 different states, I think, too.
That's it. It's like some of the band are in Oakland, some of the band are in Austin, Texas. I think,
Texas.
it's real like 90s veterans, 90s heavyweights from like Talk Is Poison, Look Back and Laugh. Yeah, tons of bands. Vocalists is from Tear It Up, right?
Tear It Up.
Vocalists is from Tear It Up, yeah. So you kind of get all that, all that 90s like thrashy American hardcore, kind of updated a little bit, better production. Maybe like a little bit of kind of twisted, like early Neurosis. That band Dead and Gone, I think there were members in that band Dead and Gone, which Prank Records did a couple of records by Dead and Gone. That kind of like slightly darker feel to it, Good band. Great band. One of the great hardcore bands that are currently active in the USA, I want to say. And I'm sure they're amazing live, you can tell.
They were, yeah.
You've seen them?
Yeah, they played Boston. Forget the rest of the bands, but Drop Dead played.
They toured with Drop Dead, right?
Yeah. Well, I originally booked Planet on a Chain and confirmed with the venue, and then they're like, "Oh, is it cool if Drop Dead plays?" I was like, "I guess."
All right. Well,
let's do it.
All right. If they must.
No, it was a great show. Great show.
So I got not really a theme. Maybe my first 3 records have a theme of drumming. I think like this record has like really good drumming on it. It's Moses is the name of the guy. He was in like a bunch of 90s bands. So really like good drumming, like all over the kit. And I've got another one of those coming up later. But good stuff. Good, like, I'm not going to say meat and potatoes hardcore, because it's not really. But just great, fast, and a little bit dark hardcore. Great stuff. That's my
also one of the best like vocalists to photograph live, I think.
Well, I suppose that's why they went with this, right, for like the cover shot, the first record.
He can't stay still. It's great.
And then like also the back too, right? It's really good photography, yeah.
That record cover looks like it's from a different era. It does not look contemporary.
It's like 90s.
Well, they both do, right?
Mm-hmm.
They both look from a different era, but like different eras. This looks like, I don't know, Boston 88. This is like Belgium 87. I don't know. It's like
that first one does remind me a little bit of like, I mean, I haven't seen Planet on a Chain yet. I like that first record. The new one just came in the store today, so I haven't had a chance to listen to it. But I mean, I loved seeing Look Back and Laugh and Tear It Up, in their heyday. And yeah, the artwork of that first one is certainly reminiscent of both Look Back and Laugh and Tear It Up for sure. So
it's kind of funny to be saying like 90s veterans, because
well, it was Look Back and Laugh and that's like early 2000s.
Early 2000s, right? So yeah. But if it's one of those things where you go on Discogs, there's like each member, there's like just way too many bands to kind of like go through one of those things, right? So I'm not going to list every band that, Look Back and Laugh. Talk Is Poison too, right? Members of Talk Is Poison who are good band too. So that's it. That's my first pick. Check it out. Planet on Chain. Revelation Records. What else I've got to ask, what else are Revelation Records doing at this point in like 2024?
A couple years ago, they released a record by this band called Praise. I really like. It's like a melodic hardcore band. Worship. They're great. But that's like the last Revelation Records album I've listened to, and that was like 2 years ago.
Praise are really cool. Yeah, Daniel from Mindset and Turnstile. Yep, played drums. I think he still sometimes does. Not always, but Praise still plays, and it's a cool aesthetic. Andy, their singer, is like obsessed with like second period 7 seconds, like kind of New Wind era. So there's an influence of like later Verbal Assault, New Wind era 7 seconds and stuff like that. Not just in the music, but in the art too. And it's really cool. It's a really cool aesthetic to make happen. So they're great live too. So.
Yeah, that record, I loved it. But yeah,
Praise is a 7 seconds album, right? After New Wind or 12-inch.
Yeah, is that the one with the Soul Force Revolution? And Praise is sorry, I have it. Praise is a 12-inch single.
12-inch single. There you go.
12-inch single after. It's like somewhere around New Wind and Soul Force Revolution, right? The one with the hands like that. So yeah, so in that time frame.
Right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So yeah, but yeah, Praise are awesome, for sure. So
cool. All right, Ryoji, what's your first pick?
All right, it's a band called Spike Pit. I'm blanking on where they're from. It might be Ohio. They're not to be confused with this other new Spike Pit band that's on Not For The Weak Records.
2 bands called Spike Pit.
No name is safe. No name is safe in the world we live in.
I found this on Bandcamp one day, and I saw that they had put out 3 LPs.
There you go. Hey, Hazel.
Thank you.
There you go.
They put out 3 LPs. I think I paid $10 each, maybe 12 at most for each record. So I got 3 LPs for $30. I've not seen a band put out that in the past few years for that price. So they either ordered 500 of them, they're just giving them away at this point, or they just keep their prices low because they're so real. But they're just like this punk band, and they're kind of thrashy. And I had booked them, and they played to maybe 15, 20 kids, and they're just like one of my favorite live bands. The artwork caught me. They got kind of edgy song titles.
Life is pissed off today. Nice.
And yeah, I think they do all their artwork. Each record comes with a poster and lyrics, pretty ignorant lyrics. All super nice guys. Yeah, they just came out of nowhere for me, and I was super into them. Yeah, they don't really sound like anyone else like playing today.
Spike Pit from
But you saying
Cleveland.
there's actually another unrelated band that took that exact name?
I mean, they're 3 LPs deep, and I think 2 demo tapes, so they have an output of 5 already. And yeah, the other Spike Pit is like 2 states away.
Holy shit!
So
I have
it's possible they could play the same city, pretty
I have
close
a
to
real
each other.
old man yells at cloud thing about bands that like take other bands' names, but normally it's not another fully active band that's 1 state away called Spike Pit.
And also they're like, I'd say they're within the same scene. Like not for the Weak Records, it's like not that far away from this band.
Yeah. Are we sure it's not personal beef? Like it wasn't just like, fuck
Well,
your Spike Pit, I've got one now too.
Damn.
Damn.
Don't get them confused.
Personal beef. Just like, I don't like you. I'm going to name my band the same name as your band.
And also, like, in the age of like 2024 now, like, there's Discogs. You have search engines.
The internet.
You can look at this information and be like, I don't know, should we press something? Someone else has this name and they're in the area.
You wouldn't even need Discogs.
Nobody will notice. Nobody will notice.
Bandcamp, yeah.
Oh shit, man! I find it hard to believe that's not on purpose, but
hey guys, let's form a band. I've got a great name, Planet on Chain. What say thee?
Some of it's so bad. Some of the name swipes are so egregious that like I can't even believe it. And if you're like me and you feel like saying something about it online, like if you're like, hey, there's this new band called Fury, and it's just like, look, man, there's this 7-inch by Fury. It's members of like fucking Swizz. Like if you confront these bands about it, just if you're bored one day on the internet, just like say like, you know, they're just like, oh, we don't care. Fuck you don't care. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like give me a break. Like not only could you know who that band is, you know that record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, God,
yes, Daniel.
Break.
Yeah, bro.
But there's like, you know, it happens to like some of the Japanese bands, Mike. Oh, there's a new, the two parts of my personality are at war with each other. There's like I don't know if they're straight edge or not, but there's like I think they are. I think there's like a new straight edge hardcore band called Firestarter. But then like the power pop side of me is just like, no. Just because they're from another country doesn't mean their name doesn't fucking count. They have like LPs and like records, but nobody fucking cares. I just shake my fist at it and everybody ignores me, so whatever. But Spike Pit and Spike Pit being that close together, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. Hilarious.
Yeah, you know the music's not far off.
Right. Oh, God damn it. I love it.
All right. Tony, what's your first book?
All right. Mike, you were saying you had a theme. I also have a theme after my first record. My theme for my other records they're all records that I only really discovered within the last like 6 months or something. They're records I really don't know anything about. But the only record that's the exception to that is this one. And this is a double LP discography that just came out. Let's see if we can see it here. This is Jesse, the Frankie Stubbs post in between Leatherface, I guess, right? Like Leatherface had broken up. Yes. And they had not yet reformed for that Hot Water Music that one-sided split record that they put out. It's just Leatherface knows what's on the other side. I've never heard or seen the other side, but anyway, before Leatherface did their one-sided record for BYO, I think this band was existing then, right? Like 96, 97.
So they came to Japan and played at Bears, and I don't know.
Did you see them?
I didn't. No, I didn't even know that band existed. I wasn't aware of them at the time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I of course was also not aware until afterwards. Although I looked at this, and I do own the original LP and 2 of the 3 7-inches. I wasn't really sure how much stuff they released, but in here it's got like it's probably hard to see. My camera's kind of shitty.
Oh, it's fine. It's okay. What I'm
doing here. It looks like there's 4 7-inch. 3 7-inches, 3 7-inches in an LP, and I have 2 7-inches in the LP. So I basically bought this $41 record for 3 songs. But I love
the economy.
But I love Leatherface so much, and I love Frankie's vocals and style so much that I had to own this. So yeah, that's my pick, is the Jesse discography that just came out. So.
It's funny. I found like the original LP for super cheap, like 500, like 800 yen, maybe something like that. About 10 years
if they're
ago.
anywhere in the world, they're just in a 500 yen bin in fucking Disc Union, for sure.
Crazy, but at the time I didn't know, I really, and then I was kind of stunned to find out later that it's like, oh, okay, this is not a cheap record.
Yeah,
in the real world.
Yeah. And somewhere in there, he did the other band, Pope. That's like, I realized, I'm going to make a confession, but since we're all record collecting maniacs here and watching, when my friend told me, he's like, oh, they're doing the Jesse discography. And I was just like, looked on my Discogs and I didn't see that I had the Jesse record. And I was just like, broke out in like a cold sweat. I'm like, I'm sure I own this fucking record. I have to own it. Do I own it? And then, get home and I'm like a maniac flipping through the records. And I'm like, oh, dear God, thank God I have this record. Shit. And then I just go, do I have the fucking Pope record? And then I look and I'm like, I do not have the Pope record. And then just like pouring sweat coming down my face. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I went on Discogs and bought one for $100 fucking. I was just like, I sent a text to my friend Chris and I just said, if I don't own the Pope record, what reason is there even for living? That was a direct quote. Just like immediately just banging on fucking Discogs, like $100 with $20 shipping. Fucking don't care. Give me that fucking record right now. So I just, acting like a maniac, fanboy person. I'm just like, why don't I fucking have this record? Jesus. I had the little CD. It didn't even have a case. Like back then, somebody Pope record, it just came in a little plastic. It was just like a purple cover, just like the LP, but it was just in a little, it didn't even have like a jewel case or whatever. So, and since my CDs got lost over the years, I didn't even have that. So,
right.
But anyway, yeah, Jesse, discography. Maybe somebody will do the Pope, a full Pope thing at some point. It'll come back in film.
Nice. Luke, I'm sorry. You were correct the first time round. I reversed you badly.
Oh, I'm reversed now?
Yeah.
Is it?
Morbid Angel is a difficult logo to read. I was confused.
Do you want me to switch or
yeah, it doesn't matter too much, but if you don't mind.
Let me try something. Hold on.
Just a mirror camera in the settings.
Oh, here we go.
Cogwheel. There you go. All right. There you go.
Cool.
Good.
Great.
All right.
Cool. All right. Is it my turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I should preface my first selection where I live in Chicago and we suffered a pretty serious loss to our scene here on Tuesday with the death of Steve Albini. So I got home that day and I dug out every record I owned that he's been involved with, and like any good Chicago noise rock boy, I'd be remiss to not start things off with what I think is my now at this point go-to recording is the Shellac BBC sessions. Double LP, one session from 2004, one session from 1994. You kind of like get a good breath on there of like their beginnings. Their first record was in 94, so you get their very beginnings as kind of a more punk band, and then the progression over 10 years is them becoming kind of a very, 10-minute long songs, kind of, very more, not proggy, but there's way more depth and twists and turns in their later material. So, and for a band of studio rats, they were always the band that were best experienced live, and it's live recordings under the site of Bob Weston and Steve Albini, so it sounds incredible. And it's just like, to pay tribute to someone who changed my life and most of my friends' lives, this is the route for me this week is End of Radio by Shellac.
Man, that was a shocking one, right? I mean, I know for everyone, especially that I know in Chicago, it was a shocker,
Yeah, absolutely. Like my friend's band was in the studio with him this week. They recorded with him Monday, Tuesday night. They were heading back to the studio on Wednesday to keep working, and he had died. Like, it's he was involved with, it's a weird loss for me because I wasn't friends with him, but he was close to in my orbit, but he was close with a lot of people I was close with. So, it's like having someone very, very much in your orbit pass who had like a massive impact on everything I had done my whole life, everything everyone here had done their whole life. So, kind of a heavy week, but also a cool opportunity to look back on a discography that like one of the most important things to exist for me, and people close to me.
Right, I don't know why I did this. I went this route with it. I'm over here in Japan, but I kind of decided to. Actually, you can see one of them up there, but I kind of went back and was. This isn't one of my picks, but man, like, yeah, it's funny. Like, I was never like a huge fan at the time, and I can't say I'm a huge fan now. But man, listening to the way these records sound, it's like, man, it's absolutely incredible. Like the work.
The crazy thing with like that, like his early recordings were done in his house, like in a Chicago bungalow, like in a basement. Like the basement I'm in right now is like the sort of space he was working out of and making those records sound the way they did, which is just a crazy thing to think about from an engineering standpoint. It's mind bending, you know?
Yeah.
I caught him in Baltimore around 2000 or so. They played in a warehouse, and what I remember, I mean, it was a great set. It was the only time I ever saw them, so it would have been around somewhere in between 1,000 Hertz and the record that's right after it, which is escaping right now. I don't know if that's Terraform or Terraform first.
Terraform was before 1,000 Hertz.
Okay, so it was just around 2000, so whatever record that was. What I remember is their amplifiers were just these metal boxes, and that they only had a switch and one volume knob. And I was just like, at the time, I was like, oh, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember they had a Q&A session. They stopped playing and took questions from the crowd, and people asked them about the amps and just various things or whatever, and they just answered them like kind of like a straight interview or whatever while they were in between songs. I thought that was pretty funny. So
yeah, we did the
Q&A
session. The Q&A session was like an every Shellac show thing. It was always really funny.
I only saw the one, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, they kept that.
The last show I saw before the world shut down was I was at Shellac, and then like the next day was like, don't leave your house. But I remember the first time I saw them, they were doing the Q&A session, and Bob would take the questions, and he's like, you, and some guy was like, what's it like working for Steve? And Steve goes, they don't work for me, and he points to the drummer. He's like, we all work for Todd.
Actually, yeah, that's a good question. Robert was like, these might be some of my favorite Steve Albini produced records of the Zenigaver albums on Alternative Tentacles.
Yeah,
this is like the most crushingly heavy, like this one and the other one that's up there, just two of the most like crushingly heavy records that you'll ever. It's unbelievable. Like this is like it's absolutely mind-boggling. Like
I don't own any of those records. There's one at the store right now, just like sitting in the new arrival bin.
Does it have like barbed wire on the cover?
I can't remember. It might even be that one that you just held up. But as you talk like this, I'm like, maybe I'll go in tomorrow and take it. maybe I'll just take that one.
And he was in a band with some Japanese guys, but I'm forgetting what band it was. He used to come here all the time, like back in the 90s and stuff, right? So I've actually got on my Facebook, like a lot of my Japanese acquaintances have pictures of him like in their like old Japanese apartments in like 1990, whatever, like drinking like Sapporo beer on the tatami room mats and everything. A funny thing I was going to say, I kind of forgot about this. Like Steve Albini had another band like after Big Black with the kind of the controversial name that was named after a Japanese manga. It was my friend David Hopkins from who has lived in this area for decades. He's passed away now. He was on this show a couple of years ago, but it was him who gave like Steve Albini a copy of like that manga, and then he decided to like name his band after that Japanese manga with the very controversial name, obviously. But
controversial, but that record is fucking awesome too. And the EP, the two Our Man releases are.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Yeah, Robert said it was David did Public Bath record. Also, sadly passed away now as well, like a couple of years ago. All right, let's move on, shall we? People are going to be shocked when I tell them that I've like never heard this band before, and I might have like in passing when I was younger, but I didn't care about them at all. There's a contemporary French band that I really like that kind of made me go back and listen to this band. The band I'm talking about, the contemporary band is Queer, CUIR, who are an insanely great band. It's basically one guy, but they're a band now. but I'm assuming that he was heavily influenced by a really old like French band.
Oh, I'm getting excited here.
Oh yeah, I hope so. It's kind of crazy to think that I just like didn't bother about this band for like decades, and now I'm all about it. Like in 2024. Any guesses?
I have a guess, but I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong.
Don't be wrong.
I don't want to be wrong.
Well, but think about the
Is there a drum machine involved?
There is a drum machine involved. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm feeling good now.
You're pretty safe to take a wild stab in the dark.
I'm not going to steal the glory, but I'm feeling good about it.
There you go. Of course, I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, of course, yes.
Metal, Urbain, man, Jesus Christ! It's like honestly, this is like mind blowing. Like how good it is. It's insane. Yeah. Like drum machine punk, like really like super distorted, blown out guitars, like kind of angry sounding vocals. The first band to put a record out on Rough Trade.
Interesting.
I did not know any of this until like a few days ago when I was doing my research.
It sounds like they made. It might be a fact, but it certainly, just as somebody that's never listened to them before, like if you're trying to imagine the drum machine, it sounds like they built it themselves, like out of spare fucked up parts. It does not sound like a normal drum machine at all. It sounds like it is leaking oil and like parts are shedding off of it while it's beating itself. It's so fucking cool, but. Yeah,
it's like I was just sat thinking, if this band had a drummer, it would be terrible. Like it wouldn't be good at all. It was like,
It also just sounds like he's just. It's not even like. It just sounds like he's just shouting random phrases over the drum machine. It's not even like really. I mean, I love it because it sounds like utter fucking crap in the best possible way.
For me, like I mean, this is funny though, right? Everybody, because they only had 3 singles, right? I think, if I'm correct, when they were active in this, only 3 singles between like 77 and 79. So that's 6 songs, right? And this album has like 14 songs in it, and there's no like liner notes really. So I don't really know like where the other songs came from or whatever. But and I'm a newcomer to this band, so I'm not an expert. But I know every song is kind of a banger. There's a couple of moments where it gets like a little experimental, like non-songs, but for the most part, it's like that fucking like throbbing like drum machine and the guitar riffs like
they at some point, and I'm probably going to mess up my timeline a little bit, and I'm obviously not an expert about them at all. I just at some point Alternative Tentacles in the late 90s or early 2000s did a CD reissue campaign, and the first CD was a Metal Urbain discography. The second one is the band they morphed into called Metal Boys.
Metal Boys, right? Yeah.
And then the third one was like, I have never listened to this band. I really should, so I'm going to make a note to myself. Doctor in the Mix, I think, is like the third iteration of some sort. I could be wrong, so somebody could correct me if I'm not right. But I feel like there was these 3 CDs, and it was Metal Urbain, Metal Boys, Doctor in the Mix. And when they did them, Metal Urbain came to America and they fucking played in Baltimore. And I was on tour roadieing for somebody, so I did not get to see it. And it's like one of my life regrets that I did not get to see them when they played in Baltimore. Really upsetting. So.
I think you're correct, but they also did it. They kind of reformed, right, in like 2006, and like Jello Biafra was involved with the album that they did in 2006. Apparently, it sounds like Metal Urbain meets Lard, which obviously makes
sense,
complete sense, But man, this has changed my life. Like at the age of like 57, it's like it's so good.
I think those discography CDs were maybe closer to 2000 or 2001 or something, but right. I don't know for a fact.
I mean, there's tons of like these like collections on CD, but as far as I'm aware, like this is the only like one on vinyl. Like this Panik collection is the only one on vinyl, I think. 2021, this came out on.
Sounds like something I would really, really love. I really want to.
Oh man, it's amazing! It's just like this, like really raw, like drum machine punk, like filthy guitars. It's so good. It's crazy.
I had one close to me, sort of close. I have some 7 inches too, but yeah, there's this one that's like hanging around here. Oh, this is the album. It looks like it's got a bunch of songs on it.
Okay,
So maybe this is some early.
Is it like Hysteric Connective, Lady
Oh, you know what?
Coca-Cola?
It says released in arrangement with BBC. So maybe this is like maybe it's Appeal Sessions. I actually don't know, but anyway. So yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Are you guys familiar with Digital Octopus?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No.
That's the Condor guy, right? Also Reeks.
Maxine's synth. Not synth, but like computer project. But I can't remember if he toured with that. I think he did a little, or maybe just like after shows of Freaks.
I mean, the biggest like French punk band, arguably the biggest French punk band of all time, was also a drum machine band, right? Barrera Noir. That band was massive in France, like super political lyrics, but they kind of had ska and like wore like clown costumes. They were massive. I think they're the biggest like punk band. You guys know Barrera Noir? Big band in France, man, like the biggest, I want to say. They got tons of records out. Again, drum machine, but with like horns and like mime and like clowns and stuff.
You had me with drum machine, and then you lost me with mimes and
you got the circus and horns.
only the saints and snuff are allowed to have horns.
You had me at drum machine, but you lost me at stuff.
You're like, drum machines, tell me more. Mimes.
I also found there's another French band called Traumatism who had a 7-inch. I listened to it. So I'm like, now I'm obsessed with like French drum machine punk. So it's like, what else is there out there? So I checked that out too. It's really good. Traumatism from the 90s.
A little bit later in here, it's not. Well, there'll be a little mini connection maybe.
All right.
A little later. We'll chat about something a couple of picks from now. So.
All right. Okay. All right. Ryoji, what's your second pick?
All right. Since you mentioned queer, I'm gonna pick. So that's Doug, and I don't know if he has 2 other bands, but I know he has 1 other band. This is it.
Beautiful.
So this is him and Jackie. Jackie's a big producer in France. He touches everything that's great. I don't know the other members. I don't know if they're really in any other projects, but I remember they put out a record before this. It didn't really catch with me at the time. And then when this came out, I went back and listened to it. And I was like, oh, it suddenly clicked for me. You know, like you're just in a mood and the album's just like not hitting you. And then you find it out later and you're like, oh, why am I so dumb? Like this record's so good. That was kind of what happened with me for this band. I feel like every French band, you're just gonna be like, oh, it's Oi, but it's always more than that. You know, it's just like it's more influenced. But this is more of a hardcore record. I don't know who else to compare them to, but this is I think this came out last year on Offside Records.
Right, that's Offside.
But yeah,
label Offside put out the Cure records, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Offside has like pretty slow output, but a lot of great stuff.
I was telling Ryoji before we got on there that I don't usually order stuff from Discogs these days because of shipping and stuff. But I found a seller in France, super cheap shipping from France to Japan, like super cheap. So I ordered the new Queer album, had it in the cart, paid for it, boom, and then I was like, God, this guy has all the other French stuff that I want too, including that album, Ryoji. I put that in my cart too, that album, and then like the Litovsk albums and like some other stuff. I was like, yes, finally I can get all the stuff that I've been looking for that hasn't made it here. Wake up the next day, cart is empty. These items are not available. Go into my messages. The guy on Discogs has disappeared.
Whoa.
Oh.
But like, okay, it is weird. I trust him. I still trust him because like he has a link to his homepage, and he's like the organizer of this punk festival that like Luke's band Bombardment are playing at. So I'm wondering, just like, did he just take his Discogs offline like while he's away for like this festival or something? I'm gonna wait a few days. Like, hopefully not. But yeah. That was my brush with a Frenchman on Discogs. Like, it didn't go too well. But yeah.
Maybe he's selling it like at the festival, like maybe as a distro table or something.
And he just took everything offline for the weekend, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Because he has.
I do the exact opposite. I sell stuff in person, and then people buy it online. I'm like, oh, I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what he did. Hope so. But yeah, that's definitely one that is in my cart and hopefully will be mine, like at some point in the next.
Yeah. So Jackie that does what's he? Guitar, bass guitar. Yeah, bass and guitar. So he has, I think 4 other bands off the top of my head. Prisoner du Temp.
Nice. Yeah.
His most famous one would be Syndrome 81.
There you go.
And then there's another little side project called
Spike Pit.
I don't know what Jackie does in Syndrome, but yes. And this other little project, they just did a 7-inch single called Mentality 81. It's like Syndrome 81, but more hardcore, so faster songs, a little rougher.
Wow.
But he's a big producer in France, and just, yeah, anything that's good comes out of him.
Now that you said he's a producer, my alarm bells are ringing, and I'm thinking, is he Bobby Ramone?
Yeah. Who is Bobby
Who
Ramone?
is Bobby Ramone? Show yourself.
Still, and can we just get back to how did they fucking do it? Like, I need to know. It keeps me up at night.
Wait, are you talking about that LP that came out like last year?
Rocket to Kingston.
Rocket to Kingston. Have you heard that, Luca?
So I've only listened to it. Like, I don't know anything about it.
No, I don't know that anybody that's speaking knows anything about it, but I listen to it all the time, and every time I listen to it, it sounds more inexplicable that it sounds that good and not patched together. And I just sit there and go, I can tell that it's really sampled Bob Marley vocals. It's clear that it's not a person imitating him. But then, like, when you think about the actual Ramones part of it, it's like the guitars sound very close to the original Ramones guitar sound, but it's not exactly Ramones songs either. Right. It's like parts of them, and it all just sits together perfectly. And I'm like, did somebody just sit in a studio and just like cut and paste?
I think so. Yeah.
And that's the biggest guess that I have. But whoever did that is a fucking master behind the knobs, and that's probably why Mike was saying that, because like it's not like some horse shit. It's not. It's so good and so close.
Yeah, it's not like a kind of YouTube mashup mix. It's like it's not like that. It's like so.
When I listen to it, it's very well produced, and I was very on the fence. I was just like, I don't know if I love this or hate this, and I had to like put it away for a minute and then come back to it. Because it comes off a little cheesy at first, and you're like, I don't know if I dig this.
The concept is ridiculous, you know. I mean, you're either on board.
The execution's like so good.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Wait, so is like the guy Bobby like the musician behind it, or is that just like a picture of someone? Or you don't even know?
The photograph is Bob Marley photoshopped onto a picture of Dee Dee Ramone on the cover. And again, even that looks pretty fucking good. Like they didn't cut any corners.
I don't think they'd even clicked with me when I looked at it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's a black and white photo, right?
Yeah. So I just want to know more, but I understand why we don't know more, because the fact that neither the estate of Bob Marley nor Linda Ramone has sued anybody is like a fucking miracle. I mean, we don't know. They could have gotten cease and desists, but there's like 8 pressings of that LP.
Yeah, it's being pressed all over the place.
Really?
Yeah.
At the store. Like
Spanish pressings. Like it's being pressed by.
Is there a label behind it, or
there was a French label, and then is Radiation do some pressings of it?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Anyway, there's been multiple.
I bet they would.
Yeah, there's been multiple labels doing it, so I don't know.
Right.
But
we should
we'll
get
put
to
it
the
out
bottom
in
of
the
this.
world.
We should
Maybe
get to the bottom of this
inboxes.
one of these days. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe our
I'll be
inboxes.
Ramon in the chat.
The knowledge.
All right,
But
Tony,
that's a good lead. That's a good lead.
Good lead in.
Maybe that's a good lead.
Good lead in.
Maybe that person is involved. So
Yes.
all right. So yeah, like I said, my next bunch of picks are all ones that I was not aware of, previous to basically this year. And this is one that I really thought I would have, but there's a documentary about these folks, and it's not a unknown record or anything in any way. I just never saw the movie, never saw the record, never heard any of it. So this is the Ghetto Brothers. Oh, sorry. Power Fuerza, possibly. I'm not sure. And they were like a 1970s Puerto Rican street gang that basically splintered into a band. So if you look them up on Wikipedia, it basically just says that they're a street gang and a band, which is like kind of crazy. But anyway, there's a documentary called, I think somebody will pull it out. It's called like Rubble Kings, maybe. And it was about like the time period where all these New York gangs were having tons of trouble. And I think the members of the Ghetto Brothers tried to kind of like have a peace treaty. Anyway, it's actually somewhat well known and famous. It's just that I never knew they had a band and I never heard the record. Wow. So it just recently got a repress. And I've just been, blowing through them at the store. I've probably listened to this thing zillion times in like just the last month or two. It's crazy because some of the tracks, it kind of starts off almost in this like Kinks, Beatles kind of like harmonizing kind of catchy song way. But in the background, it's just tons of bongos and like kind of funky, kind of congas and bongos, kind of funky vibe or whatever. And then as the third song hits, those elements kind of move to the forefront and it becomes more free form and funky, but still has like really catchy kind of harmonizing elements. It's just so cool sounding. I mean, it's got a good story, right? That they were a street gang and then they just became a band also, or at least some members of. But it's not just the story. Like it has like just a cool fucking vibe. And when you're listening to the more Kinksy Beatles songs, the bongos and the funk is just laying in the background. And when those take over, there's still like cool Beatles harmonies and like catchy parts that are laying in the background. So it kind of like, it just moves. The songs sound very different from each other, but it's just different elements, I think, jumping out and laying back in different parts. I don't know. Somebody even told me that maybe one or two of them were even in a Beatles cover band at some point. I don't know. That could just be some loose talk. I'm not sure. But the record is fucking incredible. It's just so catchy. I just listen to it over and over and over. I'm like super obsessed about it. And like I was, talking about the Pope record, just like smashing the Discogs buy button. Copies of this record are like, I don't know, somewhere between like $1,500 and $2,000. But like, I have to tell you, if somebody fucking put one in front of my face, I might fucking buy that thing. So I'm going to put that out into the world that like, I would kind of really want a real copy of this. I don't know.
I bet you it's impossible to find one that isn't like totally beat to hell, right?
Maybe. I saw on Pop Psych that one where the an entire half of the cover was like looked like it was lit on fire, still sold for $400. So and then like a sealed one maybe sold for like $3,000 or $4,000. So maybe I can find just like a sort of shitty copy for $1,500 somewhere. I don't know if anybody out there is holding. Let me know. I'm feeling very saucy.
Didn't that get reissued like quite recently? But even that like repressing is kind of already a little pricey, right?
This repressing is the absolute newest one, and it's just from this year, which is why I discovered it. There's a repressing. This one is on. Let's see here. Vampy Soul.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. They put out some cool stuff.
Yeah. And, but there was a reissue from like 2010 maybe that has a slightly altered, it's like a different cover.
Okay.
And then there's just the original. So I think there's just
Wow.
these 2 reissues and then
Okay.
the one from 72 or whatever. But yeah, just such a catchy record. I feel really just, man, just like I dropped the ball and not paying attention. I like movies a lot, so I don't understand why I didn't see the documentary, and then I wouldn't want to go and hear the music, but I just missed everything. And then just all at once, I'm like, oh, here's this record. Oh, it rules. Oh, there's this whole backstory, that just adds a little cool flavor to it. So, but yeah, really enjoyable fucking record.
It sounds really cool.
It does. I wouldn't have heard about it if you are really repping that record like the last.
It's just cool if you like funky bongos and harmonies and like it's funk, but it's not hard funk. It's not like hard slapping bass 70s funk. It's like chill. 100% yeah. Man, this copy on half of the cover was obliterated on this copy and like $350. You just get that, something just comes into your orbit and you're just like, I don't fucking care. Like I want one of these records,
Remember when that William Onyebor guy was kind of blowing up? Remember that? I remember like I got the box sets, I think, at that time, and I remember like walking to a store in Osaka that had some originals. Man, they are the most like beat up records I've ever seen in my life. Literally like just almost nothing left of the covers, but going for like a lot of money now, like super hard to find originals.
It's weird. Sometimes with that kind of stuff, I'm like, whatever reissue I have is totally acceptable. Doesn't bother me at all. But like a record like this, I'm just like losing sleep at night, just like, where's that fucking record? Like somebody find me a fucking original. But that's just, again, record collecting is a sickness. So
we're all sick. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I got to check that out. I haven't actually listened to it yet, but I will.
You got like the first 2 songs, like I said, are very, very kind of Beatlesy, Kinksy, with just like the funk elements are like super in the background, and then by the 3rd and 4th song, it's like full blown, like it really kind of explodes into a totally different sound. But you can tell it's all the same band.
Right. So. Nice. Beautiful. All right, Luca, what's your second pick?
My second pick is Highrise 2 by Highrise.
Nice, man. Beautiful.
Yeah. I've been, I can't take this one off my record player. They are an 80s Japanese psychedelic punk rock band, heavily indebted to like proto-punk like Stooges and MC5, but like with far out guitar solos. It's really cool. The vocals are kind of spooky and reverby and just the simple like roots of rock and roll songs. It's fucking awesome. And then I kind of a bonus second pick to add on. This band eventually morphed into this band called the Psychedelic Speed Freaks, which is very similar but a bit more aggressive. It's almost like if I would say it's like if Raw Power by the Stooges had a baby with Motorhead. Kind of glammy, but super hard hitting. But yeah, just incredible guitar records. Just like the Highrise record has crazy. You were talking about drumming, Mike. Like the drumming on Highrise 2 is nuts. Like just they're playing 3-chord kind of like early punk tunes. The dude just like the whole time. It's really, really great.
Well, I don't know, like I can't remember who plays drums on that, but I know for like Japanese hardcore fans out there that like Pill, the drummer of Lip Cream, was playing drums in Highrise for quite an extended period, but I don't think he plays on that record, but he was definitely in the band.
Someone named Dr. Euro.
I
don't know. But also like 2-song side B, so you get like a really long like Youth of America type outro track. It's badass. I love it.
That's another one that's kind of been reissued again, and like with maybe different covers. Maybe I don't know. Like,
Yeah, there's various covers for this one for sure.
Hold both of those covers up. That's incredible that they just kept that aesthetic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's
you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
super
that's one
into
thing
that.
I found from watching the show. It's just like some of the Japanese covers, like they're just such shit.
no, that's
Like
amazing.
you can't
I
tell
love
anything from half the Japanese covers.
Yeah, but it's great. Like if it's like
It looks
know,
industrial.
it's got like a sort of like funhouse sort of thing, like super like proto punky, but the guitar playing that's where the psychedelic element comes in. I guess is just like pretty far out. It's really really great, but it's super catchy. It's yeah, like I said, I can't stop jamming both these records. But I think I like Highrise 2 a little bit more than the psychedelic Speed Freaks.
That's a wild band. Yeah.
When did those come out?
So the Highrise 2 is from like 86 maybe.
Okay.
And then Psychedelic Speed Freaks formed in like the 2010s. I think this one came out in 2016 maybe 2019. But it's the same, like it's one member doing both.
Okay.
Yeah. But they he ran a label called Psychedelic Speed Freaks Records for all the 80s and 90s that has thousands of really out there psychedelic releases. This is like his most like probably direct musical projects, I would say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them are like I like pretty difficult sounds, but some of those records on that label are pretty difficult.
I feel like isn't there like some connection between like Highrise and Zenny Gava? Didn't they maybe they played together often or back in the day, or like?
I'm not sure. I found out about this through there's a connection between them and like the Ghost crew, like Bateau. That's how I found out about this stuff because I work at Drag City, so I'm kind of like largely hip to like what the Ghost crew is up to. So kind of I dove backwards to get to this.
The Japanese Ghost, right?
But yeah, the good
Not
Ghost.
those bastards that from Sweden or wherever who stole their name.
Yeah. Although I found out recently, I guess the Swedish Ghost reached out to Bato and they're like, "Can we name our band Ghost?" And he was like, "Sure."
Wow.
So
wow.
Similar to Spike Pit, it's but they were granted,
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Did Drag City do those most recent Ghost reissues? There's a couple of them that just happened or whatever.
Yeah, it's the first 3 Ghost records. Then it's their first vinyl press in like 20 years.
Yeah, I was okay.
Yeah, we did that. Wow. And those records are fucking cool too.
I should have ordered direct. I ordered through a distributor and then was zeroed every copy of those reissues. I tried to get them, but either I wasn't fast enough or, again, I probably should have attempted to order direct. So
you're back. We have a second press.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe you'll hear from me offsides on the
perfect
order.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Doing business on the podcast,
right in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm wearing the t-shirt. Big hint, big clue where I'm going with my next pick.
Meatfly.
I think it was episode 60 that I talked about my favorite like ex-Heresy members record. There's a lot of them. If you dig deep, there's quite a lot of them. If you go into all the members, but I'm sticking with like the rhythm section. Calv and Steve's drummer, Calv the bass player. I showed Force Fed Claustrophobia was the record that I talked about last. Like nobody cares about that record. People should care about that record. It's absolutely incredible.
I think I have one over there.
That's one of those things that I bought it when it came out. I absolutely was like blown away by it, and I still like it now. It sounds just like them doing like indigesty, like Bad Brains kind of stuff. It's like really unhinged. But like Steve's drumming and Calv's bass playing are just like all over the place and incredible. But they had like another band like running like concurrently almost like in the early 90s with like Force Fed. So Force Fed had a one lineup, then changed lineups, got a new singer. But the singer of the second lineup of Force Fed, Mike is his name, had a band with Calv and Steve from Heresy. and all their records are not very good, except like one of them, which is I love it, and I'm going to show it right now. I'm talking about Meatfly.
I'm so sorry. I said Meatfly when you were talking, but I was just joking. I thought you were gonna. I thought it was gonna be something else.
Sorry, I was just yabbering away, not listening.
My bad.
Look at this, Meatfly Fatness. This came out in Japan, like on vinyl Japan. They toured Japan on this record. I have like the fly. I was going to bring it up because they toured Japan with Disorder. And you couldn't like get more polar opposites at that time. You know, Disorder, they're most like fucked up and shit. Calv and Steve are like kind of getting bored of hardcore and like really into like very, very like technical and well played, complicated like hardcore, like listening to Victim's Family and No Means No and like Born Against and like Poison Idea, like Feel the Darkness has just come out too. So they're like putting all these things together. This like huge like sounding like hardcore record with amazing production. The drums is the theme here. The first record had amazing drums. Second pick, Drum Machine. Man, if you like Steve Charlesworth's drumming in Heresy, this is not that. Like he's not doing the blast beats. This is more of like a Poison Idea kind of speed hardcore record, but he's just doing fills like throughout the whole record, just going. I mean, Keith Moon was his hero. You'll know from Heresy, like Whose Generation. You know, he's doing like a Keith Moon on the, like on this hardcore record. It is this. Sometimes I'll just sit there and listen to like Steve's drumming. It's fucking amazing, and it's got like that not pig champion, fucking Slayer hippie kind of thing. Just massive like drums. I know, I love this record, man. It's just like completely forgotten about. Nobody cares about Meatfly, Fatness.
I have some singles, but
they're bad. They're not very good. No.
Yeah, I can't find that one. So, but you know, just being a Heresy fan, I see the Meatfly records and I do grab them 7 inches, but I don't.
Like
I don't
the first record kind of sucks. The songs don't really go anywhere. It's like meandering. It's like not focused. The singles are kind of the same, and then suddenly they go boom and kind of come out with this thing, which just like blows the doors off. It's like I don't know, man. It's I'm a big fan of this record.
I gotta find that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, it's like came out in like 1991. It was like, you know, vinyl Japan. Calv actually told me a funny story. Like, it's funny actually. It kind of like goes against like his idea of the band. Kind of goes against like what my image of the band is. It's because it's kind of very technical, like really, really well played, really well produced hardcore. But he was like, we were just all about like drinking beer and like having fun and like having a good time. And we were you know totally fed up with the hardcore scene. We didn't care about anything. We just wanted to make some good music. And like he showed me like the cover that he made for this record, and Vinyl Japan rejected it. It was like a picture of the band on a tractor, like in the countryside in England, with like flagons of like cider or like beer, like out of focus picture of them like driving towards the camera. That's what they wanted, like for the cover of this. They got rejected, and they got like this This is like pretty like amazing like graphic design, I want to say, for like 1991 on like a hardcore punk record.
Kind of looks like the Tom Hazelmeyer like AMREP Halo Flies, not just because there's some insects.
And it's got like this kind of futuristic thing or like retro thing, whatever you want to call it, going on. But
it definitely looks like some amphetamine reptile style graphic design, sort of.
Yeah, I know. I want to see the tractor. I want to see the reissue with the tractor picture.
There's way worse graphic design of that era.
It's decent, and it's not pixelated. It's like super sharp. Expensive computers were used. Definitely. yeah. But you know, they were just like, it doesn't really fit our image of like what the band is all about. But you know what? I think it kind of does, because it's like, I know. But Meatfly, Fatness. Check it out in your local $5 bin.
Great band name.
It's a good band name, yeah. But yeah, there you go. I think I'm done with the Heresy theme now. Like, that's going to be it. All right. Ryoji, what's your next pick?
All right, you probably all know this one. Factory City Children.
No.
I don't either.
Toxic State. I have a copy over here somewhere. Yep.
It's Mateo from Warthog solo project. Earlier
who's
in
on
the
the
chat,
show?
earlier in the chat, I was complaining about how not just Toxic State bands, but a lot of New York bands will record something and not be able to play because they're doing 20 other things. This is one of those bands for me. I really want to get them to play here. But for those uninitiated, it's I'd say it's like a bedroom recording. It sounds like a teenager that locked themselves in their room for a week with a bunch of drugs and just recorded everything alone. And it's just like really angry, really early Misfits. It's fun though. It's dark and fun. It really grew on me. The first time I listened to it, I was like not into it, but a couple more spins, I was super into it. Yeah, I don't know. What is the other band Mateo's doing?
Soulash Punk.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Doesn't sound really anything like his other stuff. It's pretty unhinged.
I can imagine him in his room, unhinged.
I mean, yeah, the the back cover.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. But just like, one of those great punk 7-inches. It's just like does what you need it to do.
Oh. That's kind of new, right?
Yeah. I think it because there's the Henway, the Hank Wood LP, the solo project that came out, I think after this.
That one I didn't check out.
No.
That's
So
solo. I didn't get a chance to check that out.
I've been listening to it. It's if you like the cadence of like Hank Wood singing, and then kind of throw in some hip hop and just like some simple drum machine. That's kind of what it sounds like. It's very stripped down. It's a really very solo project sounding thing. Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's a little out there, but kind of what you expect from Toxic State stuff.
Nice. You have that in the store, Tony? Factory?
Yes. Yeah. There's copies of that in the store. I pretty much order everything, direct from Toxic State or sometimes from Sorry State. If I just happen to miss an email or something, I pretty much carry everything the label puts out. Even if not every single release is exactly up my alley, like you cannot fucking deny the effort and art and like, when people look back, like, I think it's easy when something's happening, people can go, oh, whatever, that's just this style of music or that's just like whatever. But I think when people look back on that label 15 years from now or something like that, or 20 years from now, whenever, I think you should be able to see right now how much effort and dedication is in every single release. That's fucking crazy. Like those records look amazing. Whether, some of them I love, some of them I think are cool, and some of them are not as much my thing. But like every release, man, you just like open them up and you're just like, shit, man, I want to keep this.
There's always a poster. Everything's screen printed. It's like a care package.
Yeah. All the way back to those Crazy Spirit records with like the multiple silk screened posters and stuff like that. And man, that shit was just, it's incredible that he just keeps doing it, just a wild label. It's like, I want to just keep one of everything from a purely artistic standpoint. And then, it's got still a good ratio of hits to not up my alleys, So, yeah, cool label.
Like even the stuff that doesn't hit, like I'm super interested in it in like a little way.
Yeah,
like I'm always gonna check it out.
Yeah, I order them no matter what. Some of them fly off the shelves, some of them hang around, but like I want to support that label basically no matter what.
Exactly.
So I don't even care. I'm just like, yep, I'll take a handful of everything that he does no matter what. Basically just to support. And most of the times it's a good release. So
nice, cool. I actually found that Crazy Spirit record a few weeks ago, like one of the albums. Like, man, it's just like how much like stuff is in here. Crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but it gets thick real quick.
Yeah, that stuff's cool. It's not the same way. I'm probably getting too narrow here unless somebody owns a record store. But there's that label Denied a Custom where like you're like, oh, there's so many things in here, like with the Toxic State stuff, and you're like, oh, that's great. And like you have like a record on Denied a Custom, and you're like, oh, there's so many things in here, and like 42 tiny pieces of paper like fall out all over the fucking floor, and I'm just like, God damn it, what the fuck? Chasing them under couches and stuff or whatever. I don't know. You'd have to like have a record by that label.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That fucking pain, but like, why did he put all these? Is this just confetti that's in this fucking record? Damn it. So, but yeah, what a sick fucking label Toxic State is.
Nice. All right, Tony, what's your number 3?
You know what? I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit.
Right.
Since we were talking about Metal Urbain, this band, or this person, I should say, is not from France, is from Germany. And this is another band that I had no idea, or another person that I didn't really know anything about, hadn't heard any of their records. Having now listened to a bunch of their records, I can say there's a wild up-down of quality or interest going on. But this one, this is... Eric Hysteric and the Esoteric. This one I really like. It actually kind of sits somewhere between Metal Urbain and the Spits, but also like shitty Angry Samoans bedroom recorded fucking crap. And it's like it's not a drum machine, apparently. So okay, again, let me just say, I don't know anything. I'm picking records that I am just discovering, so my knowledge of these bands is fucking small. It claims that it's actual fucking drums on this record, but the drummer is the sounds. Maybe somebody knows. Oh, okay, cool. I really out there. Eric and the Esoterics. Yeah, I mean the drummer is basically. I mean, when you see the Spits live, the dude's playing real drums. It's just that the manner in which he's playing them and the sounds of his drums sound like a fucking shitty drum machine. And that's basically what this record sounds like too. It just sounds like a shitty drum machine, even though, it's not. And some of the songs are just like wildly catchy, like some of the Spit songs. Some of them are slower and weirder, like kind of maybe there's a Metal Urbain influence somewhere. I'm not really sure. This guy, Eric Hysteric, I guess he was in that band Vomit Visions, which is like a German hardcore band. I have a couple records by them too. They are fucking, I don't know, maybe another show for one of those. They're pretty fucking wild sounding. But this was like his solo situation, and he did a whole bunch of singles like this, and there's a couple of other LPs from like, the mid 80s, or like early 80s to like the mid 80s, I guess. But yeah, this one, if you see, I mean, this would be like in a 100 yen bin.
Backed by members of Australia's Last Words, who they met in.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. But this record, I feel like, would be literally just sitting in a 100 yen bin somewhere.
That's what I was thinking. I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I don't care if that was even $10. Like, I'd be like, all right, the artwork's gonna sell me alone. Like, I'm interested.
Yeah. I had to just like, I mean, I basically got a collection of a lot of German punk, and some of it is not just to my taste. That's just how it is, and some of it really was. And this is one where there were so many records by this dude that I was like, oh, I have to like throw a couple on. And this one was just my favorite of all of them. I like this one so much that I think I'll probably keep trying on some of the other ones that were a little weirder. But this one is definitely like, yeah, some Spits style. Also just like some ultra shitty Angry Samoan style. Just like, I don't know. I really just like dumb, rudimentary punk. So this is like, really fits the bill. But yeah, I think that this is, even in America, probably just in like full blown like 50 cent bins. Nobody gives a shit about it. So, but if anybody sees it anywhere, it is worth a spin or two. It's a pretty cool record. So, but yeah.
Cool.
And he was in a bunch of other bands. Yeah, Vomit Visions and a couple of other German bands that I cannot pronounce. But.
Nice, man. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Luca, what's your...
So I am fully immersed in my pretentious experimental music era, to the point where I was recently asked by my wife to put on something that isn't just sounds. So this like embodies like what I'm like, this cross section of like what I'm really into right now. This is a release called Tonic. It's a collaboration between Tony Conrad, Arnold Dreybaltt, and Jim O'Rourke, and it actually took place on my 16th birthday. But it's like 3 generations of like experimental drone musicians collaborating on one live performance. It's really fucking cool. You know, like Tony Conrad comes from the same school that like John Cale learned his violin and from. Arnold Dreybaltt is like, he's New York based, but worked in Germany a little bit, and he does like prepared like stand-up basses, or he'll make like, you know, entire rooms like basses, like he'll string like piano strings across walls and, you know, hit them with like timers and stuff like that. So it's like microtonal you know, experimental sounds. And then Jim O'Rourke, Chicago guy who now lives in Japan.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he lives in Osaka, I think. Or near, maybe. Actually, no, he lives up north a bit now. I think he moved. Go ahead. Let me get my thoughts together on that. I know.
Yeah, Jim O'Rourke has like a crazy career arc. Like he was in Gastro del Sol in Chicago, and then like he joined Sonic Youth, and then he joined Wilco, and then he split to Japan, and now just does like this very strange esoteric music. But yeah, this is like a meeting of the minds of like a lot of generations of minimal composition, like bizarre music. And it's very strange. It's like kind of like a 45-minute like atonal violin like harmonium drone, but it's like super spaced out, and like if you're in the right headspace, you can like really vibe out to it and like get to some places. It's really really cool. It's rad. Yeah, and really cool. The photo on the back I love too, because you really do see like Tony Conrad like is this old man, and then you get like younger and cooler as you go with these characters. But yeah, it's really cool. I guess this in itself, this is kind of like a cool release. It's the 100th release on Black Truffle Records, which is run by Orrin Barchi, who is like an incredible experimental guitar player. He's Australian but is now based in Berlin. But Orrin Barchi has a very wide arc of work. Like he's recorded with Sun, but he's also recorded, you know, with O'Rourke. And he's done like heavy shit. He's done esoteric shit. So this is just like, if you're into, you know, minimal composition, atonal, strange, but like not super like it's not like harsh noise. It's not power electronics. It's like, you know, there's melody and like structure to it. This is like a kind of an undeniable like instinct. That's my take on that. It doesn't rock, but it's good.
I was just trying to think about Jim Rourke. I just trying to get my facts straight on that. I know you're right. He does live in Japan. Maybe he lives like a little bit like up north. I think didn't he like get married to a Japanese woman recently?
He's partnered with Aiko Ishibashi. He's a post-rock composer too. I actually met her today. She's in Chicago doing.
Met her today.
Yeah, she's in Chicago doing a live film score, because she's been composing scores like for experimental films, and she's doing one tomorrow at University of Chicago. So she was in the office today, but Jim is not in town. I think he hates America. What I've gathered.
I'm just trying to get my thought. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Like he did this very special performance somewhere in Japan. It wasn't Osaka, but it might have been out in Nara, and like it was in an old temple at night. And a bunch of my friends went to it and said it was kind of amazing. But
yeah, he collaborates a lot with Keiji Haino. It's another Japanese artist. Yeah, it's his O'Rourke's career path blows my mind because like he can like write these beautiful pop songs, and a lot of his early records like kind of helped shape like the Chicago post-rock, like almost emo movement of the mid-90s. And like then he can in the same breath like produce like this insanely like harsh noise experimental guitar playing. And like I don't know, he's just kind of like a weird freak genius. He was in Gastro del Sol, which is like a crazy collective too. Like just like great lineage, and that collaboration between all three of those dudes have done so much crazy shit. So the three of them together in one place it was special. And, Tony Conrad's not with us anymore, but it's a pretty cool,
nice
photograph of a moment. It's great.
Keiji Haino also, like, he did a collaboration with Pill, who I mentioned from Lip Cream, who was a drummer in Highrise. They did some recordings together too, which is another kind of crazy like collaboration. There's a 7-inch on HD Fact, I think, and maybe more.
I bet that's crazy.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. It's like Pill's like bombastic drumming with like Keiji Haino just going crazy over the top of it kind of thing. But
yeah, his shit's like always way more out there than like because like I have another collection. It's like a live performance of O'Rourke and Barchi and Keiji Haino, and like it's kind of led by Keiji's like unhinged like craziness. It's like very harsh and wild. It's a really interesting path that they can all go on with that guy.
I was in Tokyo about like 6 years ago, I want to say, and I was in Koenji. If you've been to Tokyo, go to Koenji. It's a great neighborhood. I was kind of walking down the street and I saw there was a Keiji Haino show going on that night, and I went to I didn't go, but I went to Record Boy, which is like the old school record shop nearby in Koenji, and Satoru, who works there, he was like, "Hey man, you'll never guess who was just in the store," kind of thing. And I was like, "Who's that?" "Oh, Henry Rollins." And it's like, "Yeah, he's going to the Keiji Haino show tonight," kind of thing. And it was like,
that's awesome.
Of course he is.
Of course he is. I'm going to the pub.
I'm kind of impressed that Rollins was able to find Boy. I've gone to Boy, and I still fucking sometimes can't find that shit.
There's running joke. It's not a running joke. It's a joke that I have. They don't have a sign outside.
No, there's no sign.
There's no sign outside. And I asked him very directly, like, Satoru, why no sign? He's like, well, if I had a sign, I'd have to pay money. But I was like, yes, but if you pay money, people would find your shop and they would come in.
The old Boy location.
The old Boy was the best. Under the track.
That was easier to find.
Yeah, the new one's in the arcade. It's actually upstairs from a Saizeriya. If you're in Tokyo,
it's a bank, right? It's like a
bank. Like a family restaurant, like an Italian restaurant.
And that's the thing. There is a sign. You just have to see
the bank. Inside the building, though.
You have to see the bank. No sign. Yeah. Find the staircase. Go up 3 flights of stairs. Walk down a hallway, and there's the sign.
There's the sign. Yeah.
Very unhelpful, but yeah. I still like going almost just to prove that I can still find it.
Still got it. Still got it. I'm still alive. I can find Record Boy.
He's going to put it in some other location, even further, smaller, just to keep it, find them.
Iconic store. And again, it goes back to Heresy because Erica Beck and Kao from Heresy were very close, blah, blah, blah. Everything's tied in together. So. Record store day. I know, Tony, you have a record store. Record store day is an important day on your calendar, maybe or maybe not. I haven't followed it for years. I think when it first came out, it was kind of exciting, and I would check, hey, what's coming out on record store day this year, blah blah blah. Oh, I've got to get this. I haven't done that for years. So what I tend to do now is I'll go to Disc Uni maybe a day or two after, and if there's anything good left, I'll grab it. And I'm not gonna lose sleepless nights worrying about getting the Ramones demos or all that kind of stuff, right? If it's there, it's there. If it's not, But this year, I was kind of shocked actually to find this Australian record that was reissued on Record Store Day, because it's kind of it's a little bit obscure, I want to say, and it's not the kind of thing you might expect to be reissued on Record Store Day. But I'm happy it was, because I really like this band, and it's kind of hard to get their records. mid-90s Australian punk, ripping punk. It's found the Onyas.
Onyas.
The Onyas, really active in the 90s. I don't know, man. It's so Australian. It's like it cannot get more Australian than this. It's like they're taking from the past, but also the classic Australian punk, but beefing it up for the 90s, right? So I know it's more aggressive. Guitars are super heavy and distorted, I want to say, compared to older Australian bands. It's just funny because I don't know what was going on in the 90s in Australia, but there's a big anti-grunge rant on this record, which kind of really made me laugh. It's just ladies, tired of sniveling Kurt wannabes? Blue-haired knickerbockered Green Day fans leave you cold? Dial on at Anya 1800, and there's a fake phone number, but I thought they hated Green Day and Nirvana, and it's it just sounds so pointless now, to be angry about Nirvana, but it kind of made me laugh out loud.
That was I remember their records coming in when I worked at Reptilian in the mid 90s. It was the same breath as Glucifer, right? And Helicopters. It was just in that scene, basically, when that scene was first. The earlier Helicopters and earlier Glucifer records, Onyas were in that world.
Yeah, it does kind of sound it's mid 90s, aggressive, garagey, Australian punk. There's a member of Cosmic Psychos in this band. They did a split 7-inch with New Bomb Turks that pretty much sums up what this record sounds like, I guess. I know, just the anti Kurt Cobain and Green Day thing just cracked me up. It's just it must have been so important to them back then. They were angry about it, right? It's pretty funny. But yeah, just a weird thing to see reissued on Record Store Day, on Hey Suburbia Records. I don't know much about that label, but
that's a Radiation sub label.
Is it? Okay, it does have the Radiation logo.
They put out Fastbacks records, and they put out Chemical People reissues.
Okay,
I think that's Hey Suburbia, right? It's a Radiation. I think.
Yeah, it's got Hey Suburbia and Radiation logos both on here.
And they did Fifi and the Mach 3 record as well. Fifi and the Fifi band from Teen Generate, I guess.
Man, they even doubled down on it. On this, it's when the grunge takes over the airwaves. Remember, we're on the stage. They were really not happy about grunge. It's hilarious.
They really hated grunge.
They really did. It's hilarious. No,
their aesthetic was just anti-grunge, I guess.
Anti-grunge and the Onyas. Oh, the record's called "Get Shitfaced with the Onyas." Again, that kind of sums up what this record's all about: party punk, rock and roll, Australia. One thing that really surprised me and I love about this record, they do a cover and it's not an Australian band. It's one of the most British bands of all time, which is the Chords. Or an 80s mod revival group from the UK. Yeah. They're my favorite actually. And it's wow, they even they do a Chords cover, which is it's kind of came.
It's crazy.
It's kind of a weird thing.
I have all those Chords 45s over there, and the LP actually as well.
It's so good. There's that one song, Something's Missing, which is
I have that Chords LP, but I don't think I ever listened to it. I think it got shipped from the UK, and there's a crack in it so bad that there's a hole. I think you can only listen to the inside 3 tracks.
Damn.
I think I threw it out, but
I feel it's not a very. I feel those mod revival third wave bands, I love them, and I collect all those, the Purple Hearts and all that
Lambrettas.
But I feel none of. I mean, maybe it's changed, but I feel none of those records are expensive. Just none of them.
No, you can find them pretty cheap.
They get a little up there.
Sometimes, yeah, first pressing, third Lambrettas record. I don't know.
Somebody paying more than $6 for a Secret Affair LP, or you know what I mean?
The funny thing is, the Secret Affair record, the good one, the LP, which has got Time for Action, the US pressing is super cheap. It has a different cover. It looks kind of cheapy, but the original UK.
I don't know what version I have. Yeah,
the original UK one is it's a bit more up there.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know what version of that record I have.
Same song and everything, but
yeah.
Anyway,
but Purple Hearts. Purple Hearts, the Lambretta's LP, Beat Boys in the Jet Age, and then the Purple Hearts 45s are like my favorites. Yeah, I love all that shit. So, and the
Well,
chords.
good stuff. But that chord song, as I said, Something's Missing. It's just a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closet mod.
Well, actually, Henry said this it explains everything. So one of the guys from the Onyas was a mod when he started out. So that explains why they
Awesome.
they covered the chords.
Yeah, and I mean, weirdly, I was blathering a little bit about AMREP or whatever, but you know, the Halo Flies, I think there was like I don't think they were mod, but like I think they took a little graphic design from that world or whatever, and they cover Jagged Time Lapse and another kind of, maybe they cover a Track by Creation.
Okay, that's like first wave mod, right?
Yeah. So I think I'm always fascinated to see a little sprinkle of mod in other things, but I obsess about that stuff, you know, like I was probably like 1 second from buying a scooter, you know, in like 1995 or something. Instead, I just bought all those 45s instead. So,
all right, Ryoji's not with us. Tony, you want to?
Oh, we don't want to skip.
Okay, we can go back to. We want to keep talking about third wave mod revival.
There's many third wave mod records in this house.
Oh, here he is. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah.
All right, Ryoji, your turn. Fourth pick.
All right. So I was at a show the other day talking about how much I don't like compilations, or I guess how I'm just. Maybe the older I get, the more picky I get. Is that the trash?
There is. He's 1 minute and 45 seconds late this week. Getting better.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess when you go back to the 80s, those were like the golden age for compilations. And like now I'm trying to think of like what's a good compilation that's come out even in the past 10 years. I don't think I could name one.
Let us know in the comments.
I mean, well, aside from the one that, like,
there was one that just came out last year.
The Passing Bells 7-inch.
There's that one, and then there's the one
Screaming Death.
Screaming Death.
Yep.
There you go.
Those are both great.
Besides those two, like, I can't think of something that comes close to those.
If I was in the comments right now, I would type in short music for short people. That Fat Records.
I was going to make a joke about that. I was going to make a joke about short music for short people, but I thought it would like. I thought like it would be like me being like a millennial type thing.
No way, that comp fucking rules. I have a copy of it on vinyl over there. I probably should have just switch it out and have it be my fifth pick. But
I was digging through my CDs looking for like Albini releases that I hadn't listened to for a while. On Tuesday, I found my short music for short people CD, so it was fresh in my mind too. So that's excellent.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that. I just
sorry.
Sorry, my bad.
So, Ryoji, what's your pick?
So, as I'm talking about the decades, I don't know what year this came out, but this is one of my favorite comps. Bought it for $8. You can see
Pissed, House Rotten, Naked Aggression.
Yeah, I kind of pulled it out because that new Pissed record had come out recently.
There you go.
And I was like, oh yeah, I haven't listened to this in a while. And for me, this comp really introduced like pretty much all these bands to me. I must have been 16 or 17 when I bought this out in Western Massachusetts. Yeah, I was like, oh, it says Start a Riot on it, and there's all these, punk logos on it. But it's, my introduction to kind of these anarcho crust bands. Defiance, Code 13, The Pissed, Naked Aggression, Civil Disobedience, Capitalist Casualties, Submachine.
Submachine are great. Pittsburgh band, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think they're still playing, right?
One of
not frequently, but
if I remember correctly.
I feel like they've played somewhat recently in the past 5 years.
Hist are still playing because they're half of
yeah, I mean they toured on that new record.
Yeah, they're in Europe right now, I think.
They're in the UK right now.
Yeah.
They just played Bristol. They're playing Bristol now. Actually,
this very
like
moment.
Friday night. Actually, no. Well, what? It's Friday night in England, I guess, right? Well, it's
It's Friday night here.
Friday night there. Maybe it's already happened.
Yeah, the show would be over.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the label though. Clean Plate Records in Birmingham.
That's hilarious. That's Will Killingsworth's label, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, Clean Plate. They put out a lot of power violency stuff, which would explain Thug being on that compilation, maybe. But the label leans a little bit, towards power violence.
We were talking about Will Killingsworth like before we came on air about Orchid and stuff, right?
So have you heard this? The Iron Lung demo. So
nope.
it's Will's band. He's only played like 2 shows. It's like the very straightforward hardcore band. But yeah, like this record got me into basically all of these bands all at once. And it's a pretty solid comp throughout. There's always like a band that kind of steals the show on a compilation. I think that was the pist for me on this record. Maybe Capitalist Casualties too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Jeff passed away, right, Pam, recently. So.
Yeah, but they were playing shows somewhat recently, right?
That's quite a lineup of bands for like on that comp, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I recently saw Defiance. They were good. I never saw them when, they were in their heyday.
I saw them in Japan about 10, 15 years ago. No comment.
I don't think I ever caught Defiance. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw them.
Yeah, I definitely took a break from being into them. I think everyone kind of got sick of that band. Not for any particular reason. I think just kind of that era.
All right, Tony,
what's happening up there, Mike?
Chaos. Chaos on the streets.
Alrighty. Well, people are fond of saying, this is something we were talking a little bit about before we were live or whatever. People are fond of saying, the best thing about punk is that anybody can do it. And then some people say the worst thing about punk also is that anybody can do it and that they choose to. I am not one of those people that take the second part of that. I just love the fact that people that might have a difficult time playing their instruments or an incredibly rudimentary like worldview of what they're attempting to do, that is like my favorite thing. The shittier it is, sometimes the absolute best for me. I love that. And so in that collection of German punk, some of it was to my taste, some of it wasn't. The Eric Hysteric record was cool. But this band really, I really liked. They're called ZSD. I had never heard of them before.
Me neither.
Sorry, I had to make that happen there.
Okay.
ZSD does stand for something, but it's just long and in German, and I do not know how to pronounce it, nor do I know how to pronounce the name of this record. But when I threw it on, I was just like immediately taken with it. Just people that can basically barely play their instruments, like it's ramshackle. It's catchy though. It's like very ramshackle, catchy punk with a little bit of, it's not like full bore hardcore, but it's on the, kind of punk hardcore, but ramshackle. And there's a couple of tracks that kind of sound like early Ebba Grön, who I absolutely love the most. So some of the songs are like kind of ramshackle, fast punk. And then there's just like really catchy ones that remind me, heavily of Abergrown. But I just like the fact that, this is just barely holding on. The ability to play is at minimum, and the heart and effort is at maximum. And that's just like my favorite thing. It's like there's something to be said, of course, for bands that have good recordings and talent and ability to play their instruments. But I prefer this kind of punk that's just completely falling apart pretty much at all points. So I don't know. This record got reissued at some point. There is a reissue of this from a number of years ago. Although this is an original, and I does not say, I don't know if it was self-released or the label name is just not on it anywhere. I'm not really sure, but it's great. I mean, just because it's not skilled instrumentation, I mean, it's still a very fun record if you like, again, kind of ramshackle punk. Probably just repeating myself here, but
German punk.
Very, So, but ZSD.
ZSD
record, and it's really fun and cool. I don't know if it's I'm not sure if it's a hard to get record or not. I have no idea, but it just came in that collection, and it was like, other than the Eric Hysteric, it was my two favorites that were in that pile. So
nice one. Old German punk does really remind me of just like being, at Oktoberfest, people singing along, really catchy, like it is like that, right? It's like kind of like
not this record in particular. The songs that they do, it sounds less like kind of sing-songy, getting drunk punk. It does sound more like early catchy Abergrown. It's not like it doesn't feel like there's like a UK, like a GBH or like a kind of thing like that happening. Although they look pretty punk on the cover and stuff like that. They look like they certainly owned some Exploited and GBH records, but it doesn't really sound like that. But it's great though. It's really cool. So
cool, nice. Beautiful. All right, Luca, what's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick. I know it's only May, but this is my record of the year. It's gonna be hard to top it. This is a record, self-titled debut release from a band called Verity Den. They are from Carrabo, North Carolina. It's near like Chapel Hill. It's part of that little weird like indie rock mecca sort of place where like Polo's from and stuff. It's like these three, from what I've gathered, it's like these three kind of like indie rock nerds who like put out this incredible, like beautiful record of like, it's like dream pop, shoegaze, noise rock. It's incredible. Like, and like the first time I listened to it like 3 times in a row. And I sent it to a friend of mine who mostly only listens to like power violence and black metal. I'm like, check this out, man. And like a couple days later, he's like, record of the year. So like, I'm not alone in like being completely enamored with this. There's like a few elements about it that like I typically wouldn't love. Like there's some like sad girl indie rock energy happening, but like it's so like expertly done, and like the guitars are so like they strike that weird balance between like dissonance and beauty that like very few bands can nail. Like I think Bardopon can do it, sometimes Sonic Youth, but like this shit nails it. It's just like every song's good, front to back, just really, really cool, pretty, sad, noisy tunes. It's undeniable. I think
I'm gonna write that one down. What's the name of that one again? I'm gonna write that one down.
The name of the band is Verity.
What is it again?
Verity Den. It's
Verity Den.
Yeah, Verity, then Den.
Cool.
Came out. The reason I don't know if this is like a conflict of interest. I found out about this because I play in a noise rock band called Luggage, and the label who put out our latest record just released this. That's how I found out about it. I don't know if I would have found out about it otherwise, but it's so good. I've been trying to preach the gospel to like any record store I walk into. Like, what do you listen to? I'm like, I have a suggestion. It's just so good, and I feel like anyone I show it to, no matter what they're into, they fall in love with it. So like,
wow.
I got metalheads and hardcore dudes who love it. I have like, my wife who only listens to ELO loves it. Like it's
What
makes everyone happy.
Best band in the world. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I love ELO. I'm not hating on them. I'm just using
My wife also loves ELO. So,
I like the best ladies.
Yeah. They're great. They're great.
Is that like more like? Is it like more song based than like atmosphere based? If you know what I mean. It's
definitely like a song based record. I'm trying to think of like what it mostly reminds me of. Like, there's like a lot of 4AD energy with it.
Okay.
Like kind of dream poppy, not as like visceral and like spaced as like Cocktail Twins, but like maybe like that band Swallow on 4AD. They had like a couple records. Kind of sounds like that. It's
okay.
It's excellent.
Cool.
It's really really good.
Nice. All right, last round. I chose this record tonight because, well, two reasons. First of all, I kind of bought it like last week, and I've been playing it a lot, and I really like it. And secondly, like the last time that I met Tony, we went to see this guy, and I think it was the last time I saw you. Was it?
Okay.
In Kyoto?
Okay.
We went to Kyoto. Have I seen you since then?
I think we did, because the last time we hung out, we did not go to Kyoto. We just we met at a bar, and there was much drinking on your
on my behalf. Yes.
And I think we just went record shopping. So the Kyoto time would have been before, but
so my angle to this has been destroyed. But one of the times that I saw you in Japan, we went to see this guy, and he's since passed away. And I absolutely know nothing about really this guy, and I know that I enjoyed the show that we went to very much. It was a great time. It was a great show, and I love this record too. So I thought, why not? Let's have a look at it.
Oh yeah.
That's Missing Monuments.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Painted white.
Oh,
there he is on the back. Our man, King Louis.
King Louis. Yes. That was the time before. Yeah. When we saw Louis and Terry and Louis.
We saw Terry and Louis. Yes.
Oh, the Terry and Louis thing.
Pizza.
That's it. Yeah. So there he is painting a picture like.
But I haven't heard that record though. I haven't checked that out.
Shit.
So
I was hoping you were going to carry me a bit on this.
No, I haven't heard that one. Yeah.
I guess it's like, Missing Monuments, Painted White, second LP, came out on Douchemaster Records, which is a great label. 2011, Power Pop, just a great.
How did I miss?
Can you show me the tracks on the back?
Sure. The Girl of the Night, It's Like XTC, Victory Lap, Painted White.
Okay, so that's like their best record. That thing's crazy.
Okay, cool. It's their second album. I know that much. I know. But
this is the most. This is the most fun about this because as a person that I bought a lot of those Douchemaster records when they were coming out and rip-off record style and power, that mixture of stuff is
power pop and punk. Yeah.
The thing is, you just cannot know it all. Like, there's gonna be records that are just gonna drop. You're just not gonna catch them all, and that is one that I just never heard and never saw. I've never had that come through the store even. So this is cool. I'm gonna have to look that.
This is like Pence core. It's like right up. It's like right up your.
It's not as cool as It's not as cool as Jesse Core.
Pence core.
Jesse Core is the coolest.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know anything about the band. I just remember, that gig we went to, and it was great.
Yeah,
and,
it was so good. That was an incredible show. Yeah, that was wild.
Terry and Louis, yeah, and I'm really happy to. I mean, honestly, the reason I bought it was it was cheap, but then I just saw the Douchemaster Records thing. I've been digging this stuff like 20 years too late recently, but that's
Carbonas and Hex Dispensers and all those bands.
It was really the Hex Dispensers for me that.
Carbonas are still like a favorite of mine. That shit's so good.
Yeah, man, stuff's incredible. So that's wild that I've just missed that totally. So I'm hyped to check it out on the recommendation.
Ryoji says it's like the best one. So there you go.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Another thing that kind of I was a bit lazy with this. I was like, well, Tony's here, like he's going to fill in the gaps for me on this. But it's like, So Aaron Hill, this is actually brilliant. Aaron Hill, who has been playing in I Hate God for quite a while, is the drummer on this record.
Drummer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, really?
Yes, yeah.
I'm a huge. I love I Hate God. I mean, that shit is fucking.
I met Aaron because he's a close friend of my friend Pete Larson, who used to live in Osaka. So when I Hate God came to Osaka, he's like, "You got to meet my buddy Aaron," and he came out I was like, "Why he played drums on this power pop record?" You know,
fuck, that's wild.
Crazy, yeah. That must have been right before he joined, because he joined in like what 2010 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I was like, wow. And also, Miss Pussycat, the puppeteer and artist from New Orleans, is on this record.
Oh, yeah.
Is that like
Quintron.
Quintron.
Yeah.
Quintron. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
she's done records with Quintron.
Yeah.
So lots of interesting stuff going on in this this power pop record.
Yeah. The Venn diagram of I Hate God and power pop is I am in the middle of that.
It's a NOLA band then, New Orleans band for sure.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah. And there's another thing.
And I Hate God, yeah, it's got to be NOLA.
I wasn't going to mention this. Now you mentioned the New Orleans thing. I was like, yes, because on Discogs, the bass player, it says it's kind of quite rude and cutting. It says the bass player is the guy that was in like Phil Anselmo's, like one of Phil Anselmo's like bands, and it says, but he was like just a jobber. And then that's what the Discogs entry is for that.
Ultimate insult to just be a jobber.
Weird. All these guys, definitely like you said, like a New Orleans thing, right? And but yeah, just great power pop. Ryoji, you're a fan, right?
Yeah, that band's King Louis' whole thing is confusing because like my whole reference was like he was a big songwriter in Exploding Hearts. I think he did keyboard, but I think he wrote like a lot of the material. Like I think he wrote a lot of the instruments. So he do the first two records, and then he has like 500 fucking bands after that. But the confusing part about that one is like there's King Louis and the Missing Monuments, and then there's just Missing Monuments, which is that record. So I don't know, like.
It was actually, even on Discogs, I was kind of getting confused. I was kind of getting dead ends. There was like not much of King Louis like showing up, and like it was weird because he has like a lot of different names that he uses.
Yeah, there's like King Louis and bands.
Yes.
I forget. There's a ton of them. He just like couldn't stop writing music.
Right. Great record. Great power pop.
Yeah, it's like it's nothing but hits. I feel like the whole record is really solid.
Yeah, I'm really chuffed that I picked that up. It's a great record. Yeah. All right, Ryoji, what's your last pick?
Someone mentioned Carbonas. This is, I guess the glare is fucked up because of the sleeve. The Barrera Cudas.
I am friends with Todd, the drummer. Great dude.
Okay, so I don't know Todd. I met
for a few years.
I met George.
Todd's wife was my boss for like 6 years.
Oh, hell yeah.
Isn't that weird? They're back in Atlanta now, but yeah, Todd rules. And that band rules.
Anyway, this is because you pulled out the Missing Monuments. This is like my favorite power pop record that's come out in the past 15 years. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's just like every song is amazing, and it's just like I don't write music, but if I did, I'd be fucking jealous of like all the songs they wrote. They put out 2 LPs.
It's like a punk cheap trick almost.
Oh, okay.
Talking my language.
There we go. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, like if you listen to, just like go on YouTube, listen to a song, you'll be like, oh, they can write a hook, they can write a song. But I'm trying to think of the connection to Gentleman Jesse of Carbonas.
I think Adrian, the singer.
Was Adrian in Carbonas?
No, Adrian was in Gentleman Jesse's band though.
Okay. Yeah, but they're all like Atlanta dudes, so they all kind of know each other. Yeah, it's hard to talk about one of your favorite records, but now you pulled up "Missing Monuments." Like that reminded me of this band, but it's probably came like 10 years after that. When was that record from?
2011 came out.
Okay.
So,
and what's that band called again? I'm sorry, I got to write that down too. Is it
So
Barrera Cudas?
Barrera Cudas, not to be confused with that like
other,
fake surf band.
Yeah, the singer's name is Adrian Barrera, so the band is the Barrera Cudas.
Got it. Okay.
Very 2013, I guess.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, Cheap Trick is anytime Cheap Trick gets dropped, I'm gonna check out the record. Like, that's my shit. So.
Yeah, the one time I saw Barrera Cudas here in Chicago, they closed with a "Come On, Come On" cover by Cheap Trick, which was pretty special.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cheap Trick's playing in Baltimore at a arena with Heart in like a week or so, or a couple of days. What the fuck is today? I don't know. Pretty soon. And I'm like right on the fence about being like, am I just gonna go to an arena to see Cheap Trick? I mean, I feel like I've somehow never seen them. And friends of mine, when I would say like, oh, maybe I'm just gonna buy a ticket to this fucking arena show, they're like, oh, we saw him at like the Heritage Festival for free, playing in front of a cow like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? When like nobody fucking cared. And I don't know how I just didn't go see them then. I just never saw them. And I love them so much. So I'm like, well, instead of seeing them for free at like a fucking, 4-H festival, I guess I'm gonna pay like $100 fucking to see it in an arena.
I mean, yeah, from what I've heard, I would say go see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them like a decade ago, and they fucking killed it. It was, I mean, but it's when you have a discography that good, like, and if you're healthy,
there's no chance that it's gonna be
good, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, maybe I'll try to make that one for sure. But I'm gonna check out that record. That sounds fucking awesome.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, what's your last pick?
All right, last one. Another band that I'd never heard of before. Never heard this record, and maybe some people that are in the comments have, because I don't think it's like super obscure. This band is called Beast of Beast, which is a very strange name. Yeah, if we can see it there, Beast of Beast, and the record is called Sex, Drugs, and Noise. I didn't know anything about this band really, except the person that sold this record to me said, and again, maybe some people will correct me in the comments, that maybe this woman is the sister of the person that sang in Chronic Sick. This band is from LA, I think, or California at least. And then when I looked up a little bit online, it didn't say anything about that, but it said that maybe she played in a version of that band Berlin before they got popular, and they kind of kicked her out, and then she started this band afterwards. I don't know that if any of that is true or not true, but I do know the first side of this record is like awesome kind of Germs style hardcore. It's really fucking cool. It's like got just incredible, like all the guitar tones are fucking awesome. It's like fast, but not too fast. It is competent, but not too competent. It sits in the really nice spot where nobody's fucking up on the record or anything like that, but it's not like technical or overly, whatever. So the first side is like really kind of Germs, kind of hardcore songs. And then the flip side is like 45 grade death rock kind of songs. So, or more in that direction. It's like slowed down and kind of like gothier for the second side.
Wow.
I don't know if they have other records. I don't know if it's true that she's related to the singer of Chronic Sick. I don't know if it's true that she was in a version of Berlin, but I know that this record fucking rules. It's awesome. It's like, you play the first side and it's like, man, these are some sick fucking kind of like really cool punk hardcore songs, and then throw in the second side and it's like, oh, fucking 45 Grave, kind of like not as goth as Christian Death, but like kind of in the 45 Grave death rock. There's like a shadow of that kind of happening or whatever. I don't know that this record got reissued. This says distributed by Faulty Products, and My Ass Records. But I'm remembering now that the person that sold this to me, Matt, who works at my store, said that there maybe is a version that's on the New Jersey label that put out Chronic Sick, Mother Records.
Mother Records, okay.
And maybe that was, this version doesn't say Mother, I don't think, anywhere on it, but maybe that was the yeah, this one doesn't say anything about that, but there might be a version that was partially released by Mother, and that might have been the connection between this and Chronic Sick. But yeah, it's just an incredible record. It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know if it's been reissued or anything, but it's worth a listen on YouTube. I don't think it's on Spotify, but I'm sure it's on YouTube or something. So yeah, really, really cool record.
Wow.
So
Everything you said about it.
Yeah, one side kind of Germsy hardcore, one side death rock influence. So yeah, very fun.
Beast of Beast.
Yeah, a weird name. That's
Could be
not
like a Japanese burning
when you
spirit.
say it, you're like Beast. You want to say Beast of Bourbon, or Beast of,
Yeah.
Beast of Beast does not really sound. It does not roll off the tongue at all. I want to say like Beast of East. Like I want to say anything except the
Beast of
actual
Beast.
proper name of
Beast
it.
of Beast.
Yeah, I feel like I had to look at it.
Wait till they put out the compilation album, The Best of Beast of Beast.
Yeah, God damn it.
There you go.
So, but worth a listen for sure. So,
all right, Luca, last pick of the day.
My last pick, it's a reissue of a obscure title by a not obscure band. This is Same Place the Fly Got Smashed by Guided by Voices. GBV is like one of my all-time favorites, and all the records that they released before they got picked up by Matador, they were like self-released editions of 500. So, for a band that has such a massive discography, it was like almost impossible to hear some of their music. And this one just got reissued by Scat like a month ago, and it's my new favorite of theirs. It's from right before they popped. It's GBV. It's Cheap Trick in a Bedroom. It's every song is great. Makes you want to smile. Makes you want to cry. It's great. It's so fun to me that like this is a band that you love so much, but if I wanted to hear this before this came out, it'd be like $1,000 to get a copy of it. And now it's like you get it affordably, and all of a sudden you have a new favorite record from 35 years ago. So I can't this is every time that I hear new songs from this era of this band, it's my new favorite record by that band. So that's where I'm at with this one right now.
Yeah, the person that traded in those German records, the Eric Hysteric and the ZSD, also traded in a bunch of original paste on of those Guided by Voices records. It was a pretty wild. It was a pretty wild collection, and yeah, those the gin that yellow covered that's just getting reissued now. I guess it's called Gin and something.
The Twisted Tonics and
Twisted Tonics. That's what
Tonics and Twisted.
Yeah, there was the original of that one and a couple other ones. They all sold, but like it was a pretty wild. It was like German punk and original Guided by Voices records. Yeah. It was a pretty wild collection. But
they started like really doing the reissue campaign because they released the one record, Propeller, the one that got them discovered by Matador. Like they did the 500 of their own, and they self-released it. And they got them all in plain white jackets, and then they just like decorated each one by hand. Wow. And
cheapest way to do it.
They had Sun Ra style for sure.
Yeah, like, I guess they had 26 of them that they had just big like alphabet stickers. So they did A through Z each one, and then someone out there owns the G, the B, and the V. The most expensive records to ever exist if someone can get those three together.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That hurts my record collecting heart too. That makes the sweat.
Why don't I have those yet?
But don't get any ideas.
But that was like Scat reissued that one Propeller like handful of years ago. They've been doing all the pre-Matador stuff since, and this is the latest one. And it's I feel kind of sad. It's like now like I'm getting these reissues, and I have like all the other cool ones. Like, is the GBV well drying up? Like, what do I do now? You know.
I don't think it's ever drying up. You know?
Yeah, no.
Fall down like a Boston spaceships or circus. What's the circus?
Circus Devils. Yeah.
Circus Devils. You can fall down one of those holes, and like it would be bad, even if that was just the band. Even if you were just like, oh, I just want to get these Boston Spaceships records, you would still could take a long time. I feel like, unless you were buying them as they were released.
Yeah.
Maybe. So.
There was like an interview with Pollard in like '96 when they're like, "How many songs have you written and recorded?" He's like, "At this point, probably 5,000," and that was like 25 years ago, 30 years ago. So it's like,
yeah. I like that he said when he would write the songs, he would just write song titles and just lists and lists of song titles, and then he would go back and look at those lists, and if a song title looked interesting to him, he would then write the song or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That really.
Yeah. There's like an interview with this one dude who like played bass on a couple tunes, and like he's like, Bob invited me into his basement. He like showed me the run through of one of the songs. He's like, "Do you think he got it?" He's like, "I guess so." He's like, he hit record on his boombox. I played the bass part that he showed me, and he's like, "All right, we're done." And he's like, and then all of a sudden I realized I had just recorded. Well, like a year later, he's like, I had recorded Game of Pricks. Like,
oh wow, yeah,
like. That's how they went about it, and just somehow throwaway tunes to him are like the most beautiful songs you'll ever hear. It's
But I like the spirit of that. It's like when I was talking about like punk bands being shitty or like being recorded poorly or like whatever. But the spirit of that, you don't have to actually. I mean, you can be competent songwriter and stuff, but still take other elements of that, which is like the ultra DIY elements, like he has, where he's just like, oh, I don't care. Did I write a bunch of fucking random fucking song names on this fucking toilet paper sheet? Oh well, just have some random motherfuckers come over and it's an album. Like, I mean, it's talented and incredible, but like just that spirit of just being like, fuck it, man, hit record on that fucking tape deck and it's done. That is like, and makes me love Guided by Voices.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, or bit of like Guided by Voices talk on the show before. And I don't know where to start. It's very daunting for the beginner or the someone who's never really heard the band before. It's like, where do you start with this band?
I've never started. I have like.
You sound like you're an expert. That's crazy.
No. I have like a couple of albums and a couple of singles, but it doesn't matter. I could have 200 albums and 100 singles, and I wouldn't be any closer than ever. So it's like there's nowhere to go, so then everything is permissible. You can just grab anything. There's like no chance that you can collect them all.
Well, I mean,
then it doesn't matter. You can just be like, oh, I just want to own Isolation Drills. That's cool. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. There's no bad records. It's like,
no one can just own Isolation.
Okay, maybe not.
If you're looking for like a place, so it's a band that's like 40 records, but there's a bubble of like perfection from the late 80s to mid 90s. I could point out like 6 LPs that would make you very, very happy. I'm talking like from this one, from Same Place to Under the Bushes Under the Stars. It's like a run of just like, it's like 6 or 7 records, just perfection.
Wow.
Yeah. You could skip anything after before, but if you really love those, then you can start looking those ways. But that little run, it's just like they were on it, and it was all done in the basement. It sounds crazy. It's like deconstructed. It's like the Who deconstructed, or like Cheap Trick recorded in like a closet. It's crazy.
Which is why I love it. That's like all my favorite shit. I just mean like it's freeing to know. I mean, look, I'm sure there's some people out there that might have a lot of these records, but to me, it's freeing to know that I'll never have even half of them. So then if I just see them, I just go, who fucking cares? I'll buy this when I see it. I'll listen to it. Hey, I like it. But I can't try to have, it's just like, that's impossible. Right. So then anything is, fine. And you guys
like after after they popped on Matador, they like signed to a major and they started doing like actual studio records, and that's
Right.
where like their output gets a little like
Okay.
spotty. Like, you know, you'll get like a, you know, before that you would get like a record with like 25 90-second songs, and each one is like a glimmer of brilliance. Then they start trying to make actual records, and you'd get like a 12-song LP, and maybe 3 of those songs are like brilliant and incredible, but the rest of them are like fine, but still better than like most other indie rock at the time. But like if you like really want to like get like into it, the like basement recorded, you know, like 30-song LPs are like really, really excellent and worth your time. And I don't know, some of my favorite records of all time. Like
they're all
and-
getting reissued, so it's a good time. It's a good time to randomly grab them because there's a lot of them getting reissued. For
all
like,
the ones that are,
they're like fucking. I mean, like at a time when records are like $29 and $30, it's like they're all like 22 or 24 bucks. You know, it seems like they're pretty reasonably priced. So
cool.
Yeah, it's great. And all like Tony said, all the stuff that Scat's reissuing right now is all like all of it is it's really high quality pressings, and it's all really good shit.
Yeah.
All right. Killer episode as always. Let me just announce next week. People will be maybe happy to hear that no Americans on the show next week. How about that? No, I'm just kidding. They're all expats, though. They all live in the States. But I've got a Scotsman and a couple of Englishmen coming on next week. Get your subtitles ready.
Oh my god.
Alan McNaughton, Justin Briggs, Tim Brooks. It's going to be a great show, as always. Next Friday, May 17th, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to carry on talking for a little bit after we stop rolling. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's like a couple of weeks ago, the chat was missing. It was really rough to do the episode without any chat. It's kind of hard, but thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay healthy and stay